March 2nd, 2015 is called to order. There's been notification of the news media. The Marlboro Herald is here. And Mr. Branch, would you please have an invocation for us?
Let's pray. Lord, we just thank you so much for today. We ask you to please bless us tonight. Lord, we just thank you so much for these kids tonight that are here performing for us, Lord. Lord, just ask you to keep an eye on us as we travel back to our destinations, Lord. Lord, I ask all these things in your name. Amen.
We need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Madam Chairman, I have a question about the agenda.
All right, Mr. Woods.
And I want to pass this out to each board member, and I'd like this to be on record. Madam Chairperson, members of the board, I would like to address one of the many important issues at this time. As I look at the agenda, I see that there are individual items from some members of the board listed. Additionally, we have noted apparent handwriting of chairperson will list the same items that are on tonight's agenda. Besides, items are handwritten, listed are names of individual of the board members. This makes it appear that those board members are Mr. Goff, Ms. Parsons, Mr. Driggers, and Mr. Branch communicate the information to Ms. Parsons. Or it appears that Ms. Parsons may have called the board members for this information. If this is the case, Ms. Parsons, I would like to know why weren't any of the African American board members asked you why might have wanted the agenda on the agenda tonight. I would never ask to provide any items for the agenda tonight if any only members of the board not asked their thoughts tonight's agenda are for African Americans or this board. You are sending a strong message of saying that you are not inclusive and respecting of the thoughts and wishes of the board as a whole. As the chairperson of this body, you are charged with the responsibility to lead us all, not just selected few. Therefore, to prevent any surprise of any of our meetings, I would like to move that during each regular scheduled board meeting, during the portion of the agenda, that each of us be given opportunity to voice our collective thoughts regarding items from the board that appears on this agenda. That's regular scheduled meeting of this board.
Mr. Woods, perhaps you're not aware, but I thought you were given this information that people can call the district office and put any things that they want on the agenda.
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. That was done in our training. And have you not had a training as a new board member?
Yes, I have a training as a new board member, but it was not what procedure told me how to put something on the board.
All right. Well, let me clarify that. Sometimes it's not followed as carefully as it should be, but we try to get items into the district office, either in writing or calling Ms. Tweed to put things on the agenda. Sometimes I've called, other board members have called, and that sort of thing. There was no attempt to discriminate against any board member. If you wanted to put things on, all you need to do is call the district office and tell Ms. Tweed. And that's how other people have done this in the past.
Ms.
All right,
Parsons.
is there a motion to...
Ms. Parsons.
I'm sorry, Ms. Blue.
Yes.
Y'all will need to push your hands out or something tonight so I can see you.
Looking at this, and when I got the agenda, it's the appearance. Sometimes it's not the case, but it's the appearance of something impropriety has happened, and that's what this agenda looks like. And I have a kind of a problem with it simply because it is the appearance of something that was, it's appearance of a board meeting or a call meeting, and that is not good. Whether that's true or not, it appears that way. It appears that way, and I think if it went to any kind of legal action, it would put this board in a very bad light, namely it would put it in a very bad light, and that we do not want. But the appearance is there.
Well, whatever appearance is there, there was no time that 3 board members met. There was no time that 2 board members met. And
The appearance is there.
Well, whatever you want to, I mean, I'm not going to get into an argument with you about it. We have the right to ask questions and to put things on the agenda. Y'all talk about surprises. This was written out and to make sure it was clear. And so would someone please make a motion?
Ms. Parsons, before...
Dr. Tillar, yes.
But no, I do have a correction that I think everybody needs to be aware of. As the board was informed at our board training, the board members training a week ago, whenever any communication goes on with the board has 1 employee, and that's the superintendent. So actually, if you want something on the agenda, it should come to the superintendent and not any members of my staff, but to me. The School Boards Association has made that clear repeatedly. So I just want to go on the record to say that it should come to me.
Dr. Tillar, when I know that...
I'm not going to argue with Ms. Parsons.
I'm going to
Just
finish
look
what I
at it.
said, Dr. Tillar.
Look at it.
When the deadline to get, for Ms. Tweed to get the agenda out is Wednesday afternoon, and you're not available, then there's no alternative but to bring it up there.
Ms.
And that's been
Parsons,
done in the
every
past.
member of the board has my cell phone, my office phone, and my personal phone. There's no reason at any time why any board member cannot get information to me or can't reach me. If you call me, I'm going to call you back immediately. And so if I'm in a meeting, as soon as I'm out of that meeting, I call board members back.
I think that what we need to do here is implement something that has been discussed in the past about having a committee for doing the agenda. We're not going to go through this kind of to-do anytime anyone asks a question or asks to put things on the agenda. Now, someone... Oh, Mr. Goff?
Yeah. I would like to make an amendment to the agenda under the individual items for the board. If we could discuss policy BEDB, and this is BEDB. It's for the agenda Bravo Echo Delta Bravo BEDB,
Okay, thank you.
as well as policy Bravo Delta Echo regarding board committees, and if these could be added, I hope to be able to at least offer a solution to some of this issue.
All right. Mr. Coachman?
I just want to say, could it be easy if just someone would just call each and every board member the week before every meeting, or on that Wednesday before the meeting, and give every board member the opportunity?
Did you not have an opportunity to call in like you've done for 4 years?
That's not what I'm saying, Madam Chair. I'm saying with someone from the district office hold or call each board member and see if they have any items. That way the district item.
I think, though, the problem that we run into that I run into is because when individual members of the board call me to place an item on the agenda, other members of the board are not aware of those items until you receive your agenda. And then what happens as a result of that, I begin to get calls as to why these different items are on the agenda, and I can't answer those questions. So I think to alleviate some of the confusion, it's probably better for the board collectively to decide what you want on the agenda before the next meeting, so we will have it on the agenda. All board members will be aware of it, as well as I will be, and I will be aware of it not at the 13th hour, but I'll be aware of it in enough time to respond. And again, as we've been trained, there should be no surprises. No surprises among board members, no surprises from the board to the superintendent. So I think that would probably help us to alleviate some of that confusion.
All right, let's try and move on to the...
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I think there's a motion on the floor to amend the agenda.
I'm so sorry. You were right. And is there a second to amend the agenda?
I second, Madam Chairman.
All right. And we need to vote on the amendment. All in favor of adding a discussion of policy BEDD and BDE, please raise your right hand. I can't see who's voting. Okay. Ms. Owenation, Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Goff, Mr. Branch, Mr. Driggers, and me. So the motion's carried. All opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Ms. Tweed, can you say Ms. Fleming is abstaining?
I'm also abstaining.
And Mr. Coachman is abstaining, so those are no votes. So the motion is carried. All right. And so now we're going to vote on the agenda, the motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Chairman, a point of order, if I may. I'm aware of this, and Danny may be aware of this. When we established our policy about submitting items for the agenda, we had a lot of discussion about it many years ago. And I believe that our policy now states that we are to provide those items 7 days prior to the meeting. That is our policy as it stands. And that was based on the fact that normally the agenda is formed a week before our Monday meeting. And it was the intent for anybody and everybody on the board to submit whatever they would like to be placed on the agenda by that date to give sufficient time for the board to be notified. So I just want to share with you that that policy is in place at present.
Okay. I think one of the things that sent us off track was the South Carolina School Board Association meeting, where everybody was down there. Most people were there from Wednesday on. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I have
Ms.
the
Bright.
agenda right here, and it doesn't say 7 days, it says 5.
5 days?
Yes, but
Okay.
it also says that the superintendent, in cooperation with the board chairman, will prepare all agendas for meetings of the board. So, I don't know, yeah, I brung it, I don't know if anybody made copies for everybody to have. I think that if we ask something, we need to bring copies for everybody to have. I think in all situations, whatever it is that we want to discuss, in order to make a sound decision, we need to bring whatever information we have regarding that item for all board members to view.
Thank you, Ms. Bright. That was my reason for abstaining, because I don't have the information and I cannot make a decision or discuss anything without having these two policies that they're talking about. I have no idea what they are.
All right, so now we have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda, and then Dr. Cobb has asked for an addition of a student recognition to be added. So would someone make an amendment to the original amendment to add the student recognition?
So moved, Madam Chairman.
All right, is there a second to the amendment? All right, let's vote on that amendment to have the student recognition added. All please in favor, raise your right hand. Are you voting? Mr. Woods, I thought I saw your hand go up. Did it go up or not? Okay. All right, so Ms. Owenation, Mr. Woods, Mr. Goff, Ms. Parsons, Mr. Driggers, Ms. Bright, and Mr. Branch, and Mr. Coachman are voting in favor of the amendment. And all opposed? Ms. Fleming,
Abstention.
Ms. Fleming is abstaining. All right, let's give her a minute to get all of that written down. You got it?
Madam Chair,
Okay.
when I made a motion, I said I would like to move that doing when I gave you the handout. You now accept the motion.
Hang on a second. We've got to vote on the motion that's on the floor here. All in favor of the main motion, please raise your right hand to approve the agenda. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's Mr. Branch, Mr. Driggers, Parsons, Goff, and Owenation are in favor of the main motion to approve the agenda. All opposed?
Opposed.
All right, Mr. Woods is opposed, and Ms. Fleming is opposed. So we have the agenda now with BEDD, BDE, and a student recognition. So, have you got all that down, Ms. Tweed? You think you do, okay? Good luck with it. All right. Now, under new business, we have a welcome, and Ms. Julia
I
Cain.
think you're ignoring Mr. Woods. He said he had a motion.
When I read
What was the
out, I
motion
said,
for?
when it's down to the bottom on your paper, I said, therefore, I prevent any surprise of any of these meetings. I would like to move that during each regular scheduled board meeting, during this portion of the agenda, that each of us be given the opportunity to voice our collective thoughts regarding items for the board that will appear on the agenda at that next regular scheduled meeting of this board.
Now, that would require a policy change.
Okay.
So what we have to do a policy change is announce 1 month ahead
Okay.
that a policy change would take place. So I don't know where it's appropriate to vote on a policy change about the agenda. We could put it...
That does not
down
require
here.
a policy change. No, that doesn't require a policy change.
No, it don't.
Right now, the policy on
It
agendas...
says 5 days ahead, so that
Right.
still would necessitate a policy change.
All right, make your motion again. Perhaps I didn't understand what you wanted.
I would like to move that during each regular scheduled board meeting, during this portion of the agenda, that each of us be given the opportunity to voice our collective thoughts regarding the items from the board that will appear on the agenda for the next regular scheduled meeting of this board.
I second that motion.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes, is there any debate?
If we're going to follow the policy that we have, this would be in addition to that, but that would not preclude presentation of items 5 days ahead of the meeting. To try to project for every meeting a month ahead of time seems unrealistic to me. But I think the opportunity for board members to suggest something for the next meeting is fine. But I don't want that, any misunderstanding about that. That
An
I'm not
opportunity and an
advocating-
obligation are different.
Right, that I'm not advocating a policy change. This is just an additional statement that you can present items during the regular scheduled meeting. And do I understand you, Mr. Woods?
Yeah, that we have, it's right there in black and white.
So are you asking that, and let me clarify, are you asking that board members have the opportunity to introduce items at this point, or are you asking that we be required to submit items for the next board
Yeah.
meeting during this meeting?
What I'm asking is, I would like to move that during regular scheduled board meetings, during the portion of this agenda, that each of us be given the opportunity to voice our collective thoughts regarding items for this board that will appear on the next regular scheduled meeting of this board.
Some stuff that's going to happen in April.
And then are you saying that you don't want anything else added after
No,
that
ma'am.
meeting?
I'm just saying, give us an opportunity on
opportunity.
the next regular board meeting.
Sure, all right,
That's in black and white.
all right. Any other discussion? So without further discussion, those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, let's see. Hold it, keep your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are you voting with your own
Yes.
motion? All right. And that's carried unanimously. He would like to have, he's moved that there be an opportunity in each regular board meeting for board members to express things they would like to have on the next agenda. Not that that precludes other things being put on later when the agenda is prepared. Do I have that right, Mr. Woods?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, and that was carried unanimously. So what we'll need to do is add on the agenda page an opportunity for people to add things to the next month's agenda.
Madam Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as amended with the 3 amendments that are now in place.
All right? Is there a second? All right, any discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. And hold them up so I can see them. Okay, Ms. Owenation, Mr. Goff, Parsons, Mr. Driggers, Ms. Bright, Mr. Branch, and Mr. Coachman, all opposed. I'm sorry, I missed your hand. You had it up. Okay, Mr. Woods, the motion's carried, all opposed.
I'm abstaining.
And Ms. Fleming is abstaining. All right. So now, Dr. Cobb. I'm sorry, Ms. Cain. Where's Ms. Cain? There she is. Okay.
Good evening. Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Tillar, senior staff, visitors, and friends. The home of the Clio Cotton Festival, the Cavaliers, and the Panthers would like to welcome you here tonight. Tonight, Clio will feature parts of our Black History program. And along with me, because we're a partnership here, I'm going to go to Mr. Jorgensen at this time. He would also like to welcome.
Well, on behalf of Clio and School Discovery's faculty, staff, students, and parents, we welcome you to Clio and invite all board members to visit our respective schools here in Clio, as we are partners here together.
Yes, and so tonight, sit back as our young people come forward. I know you've seen a lot of them outside already playing basketball. I think the whole school came out for you tonight because the weather was welcoming. So thank you, and sit back, and we're going to go ahead and invite Clio Elementary and Middle students to come first.
I think they want the music on. delightful. Thank you so much. Dr. Carr, Cleanliness Award, and then the student recognition.
Madam Chair, school board members, on behalf of the school district of Marlboro County, I'd like to present the Cleanliness Award to the buildings, the district buildings, again to the Technology Hut and Mr. Jimmy too.
So little. So Joe, you do. I mean, that you take on. Please.
And the schools, the Cleanliness Award goes to, again, for the umpteenth time this year, to the Bennettsville Primary School. Madam Chair, school board members, I'd like to take the distinct pleasure tonight to present one of the prides of Marlboro County, a gentleman unprecedented in the history of the school district, for an appointment, certificate of appointment on behalf of the President of the United States of America and the United States Military Academy Admissions Committee. Take great pleasure in presenting certificate of appointment to Tyrone Victor Abraham Jr. for the class Military Academy. And if I can have your attention, while you remain standing, if I can have your attention, we just found out last week as well that Tyrone Victor Abraham Jr. also received an appointment to the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. It is believed to be that when all is said and done, one of these appointments will be worth over $400,000. It will be an honor for our district website and hopefully our newspaper if all board members would take a picture with Tyrone Abraham. for the audience, this is an appointment to the Naval Academy as well as the Army. Thank you.
What a nice thing to happen. All right. Next, we need approval of minutes for February 2nd, the regular meeting, and February 2nd, the workshop number 1. Would someone please make a motion to that effect?
Madam Chairman, I move we accept those minutes for those 2 dates.
Thank you. So, all right. And without discussion, all in favor, raise your right hand. And the motion's carried unanimously, Ms. Tweed. Individuals or groups who wish to appear before the board, and we have Mr. Gregory Woods, and he wants to speak about Stand Up for Clio. Mr. Woods.
So, good afternoon, Lady Chairman, Dr. Tillar, and congratulations to the new elected board members and the following board members from last year. I'll be brief, and I pray that Ms. Parsons, Chairperson, will allow me to finish. 3 minutes is a very short time. I will not be belligerent, but I will be precise and to the point. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the board on behalf of concerned citizens and Stand Up for Clio. We petitioned for certain things to happen for Clio on last year. And it does my heart good to come on the school ground and finally see the kids playing in the yard. We thank you for paving the basketball courts, the lighting system. You started with that. You still got a little bit more to do. We are glad for that. And we already recognize that you already recognize there's other things that need to be done. You already made a verbal commitment that you was going to do. Unfortunately, there are some more things that need to be attended to, and I just want to bring it to the board's attention. It's been said there's no excellence in Marlboro County, but Mr. Abraham had just proven everybody wrong. We came tonight on behalf of concerned citizens Stand Up for Clio. One of the things I would like to address is this gym is beautiful. Makes no mistake about it. But if you look around, you don't see no locker rooms. And school, PE is a curriculum. Kids need somewhere to change clothes. Our kids have to go in the bathroom or classroom. When we have sports events, it's embarrassing for us as home natives of Clio. When teams come in, they got to go in the bathroom to change clothes. It's unacceptable in the 21st century. The next thing on this agenda we have lack of storage space in the school. We don't have anywhere to put anything. The teachers are doing the best they can, and we are going into the age of technology, science technology. Clio Middle School don't have no science lab. We have limited classroom space. Our teachers, hear me, our teachers have to share classrooms. It's unheard of. How can they teach and they have to share classrooms? The lack of our technology system, the Wi-Fi system is down all the time. They can't function properly, printers are not working properly, and our kids cannot get out their work in a due amount of time without technology being down as it is. Our students in pre-K through the 8th grade are walking down the same hall. It's so congested. Kids that small don't need to be congregated with the older kids like we have now. I know you're going to give me 3 minutes, but if you allow me, I'm not being belligerent here. Next thing we have, how can you have non-certified teachers teaching our core classes? Non-certified teachers teaching our core classes. We asking for this in Clio. It's been said biblically, what can come good out of Nazareth? But we stand tonight, what good can come out of Clio? A whole lot of good can come out of Clio if you give us the resources to do it. I'm asking now that Clio, will you please stand? And on behalf of Clio Board, we are coming tonight, we are petitioning again. Do your best. Give us your best. We give you our best. Last, and this is my 1 minute, we're looking for our owners, and we thank you for considering that. We're asking, but I'm saying as I go to my seat, if Marlboro County can build 2 multi-million-dollar schools, can Clio get a little bit of help?
Thank you, Mr. Woods. All right, next, individual items from members of the board for the purpose of scheduling a workshop. Well, facilities is the first one, Mr. Woods, and technology and curriculum. I think I would like to propose here, because we didn't have time to discuss things about the budget, that we have an AB workshop, basically, that the next workshop be to complete what we started with the budget. Does that suit everyone? Is that all right?
I'm not clear on it. I'm not clear what you're asking.
Well, Mr. Park's presentation, even though he did a wonderful job of making it clear and streamlined, there was no time for the board to have interaction and discussion. And
we do have a budget.
The conflict would be, as you know, the Speaker of the House, Jay Lucas, has pulled together a task force and a steering committee to look at the different plaintiff districts in the Abbeville case, and they're having a meeting in our area on that evening. The 23rd is going to be in Dillon, and they just shared that at last Monday's meeting, and it's going to be in Dillon from 4 to 8, and I think that that may be the closest one to our district, so I would think that the board as well as the administration would want to be at that meeting.
Y'all sent the email out about that?
They haven't given us a location yet. As soon as they forward to us the location, then we'll let you know. But they did share that it'll be in Dillon on the March 23rd from 4 to 8.
all right, so can we handle this by email when we have something more solid? Do you all want a second part of this workshop so that we have time to discuss things, not just have things presented?
I think we can, during the budget discussion, when we're able to reschedule, that we can get to the other part during that time.
All right. Is that agreeable with everyone? All right. All right. Next, Mr. Goff, the discussion.
Can I just get clarification? So at our next workshop number 3 with the board, is it the pleasure of the board that we move forward with facilities? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I think we're going to do it like we're doing these before the April meeting.
Yes. Okay.
Are you just suggesting facilities or combining that maybe with technology, or are we just looking for just facilities?
I think it would take a good while to deal with facilities, yes.
Before the April meeting, okay. All right.